Hello, and welcome to Meet the Nonfiction Bookmark. So, Mrs. Smith, again, unfortunately, cannot show her assignment as I would be doing it in the classroom over the ladybug. I still don't have my ladybug. But I'm able to use this screencast, which many of you said you enjoyed. And even if just a few of you did, that's wonderful. It's just a new way for me to talk to you guys and for us to do a lesson together. So what I've done is I've taken the nonfiction bookmark page that you should have printed out. You can see it in front of you here, and I turned it into a Google slide. With the Google slide, I obviously can't color things in the way that I would in the classroom with you. So what I've done is I've made these little shapes on the side. You can see me highlighting it right now. And then these shapes are approximately the same shape as the objects. So as I discuss them, I'm going to color mine in, and I want you to color yours in. So if you need to pause me for a moment to go get markers, colored pencils, crayons, paint, whatever it is you want to use in order to make this happen, just pause me right now and then come back. Okay, welcome back. So today we are meeting the nonfiction bookmark. This is a really neat type of assignment that I found many years ago that I've been using for a while now. And what it helps us to do is to look for elements of nonfiction books while we're reading. And the story that you will be reading today, Alexander Graham Bell, inside your hard book, which is that language arts book that says Reading Street with the beaver on the front, silly looking beaver. On page 174, you'll find the nonfiction story, Alexander Graham Bell. So before we do that, I wanted to introduce this bookmark. Now, in the classroom, what we would do is after we colored in each of the sections, we would cut it out. And then sometimes I laminate them. Unfortunately, I can't do that for you now, but you could certainly keep this. You could cover it in tape and then cut around the edges, and that's a lamination technique. Or just keep this, glue it inside your journal, the one with the sticker, and that way you have this with you because we will be using this in the future. Now, if you lose it, don't worry. I always have extras, and that's the same thing here. You'll be able to print out another one just in case you need it. So let's get to the bookmark. Number one. The first part is this whole enchilada, except it's not an enchilada, it's a watermelon. And this watermelon, we're going to make a dark green. So you can see that I've made my little dark green watermelon there. This is for the title and the author. So the author is the person who wrote the story, and the title is usually the largest words on the page. Sometimes a title will have a subtitle as well, like our story Alexander Graham Bell, which actually has Alexander Graham Bell as the subtitle, and the main title is A Great Inventor. So that's just an example. Now, secondly, we have a piece of the enchilada, or the watermelon, that I'm going to make red. And this is, what is this part of the book about? So you will encounter in many nonfiction books sections or pages with different headings. So think back to the work you did on Tuesday, and with a lot of those pages in your small group reading books, it'll say environment, habitat. And that is actually very similar to what I saw in all of your All God's Creation books. You did the same thing. So we're actually going to use this piece of this watermelon quite a few times until the whole book is done. So next, when you are looking through a nonfiction book, you want to be looking for facts. You want to be looking for important facts, and sometimes, actually more like most of the time, it's helpful to find the facts in order. So for each one of these, I found myself a nice little yellow star. Basically, finding 3 important facts would be important. There might actually be a lot more, and as you grow and you learn and you're doing other longer stories, there's going to be many more facts you'll have to learn. Now, I made my stars yellow, so I have to get creative with my light bulb. So one of the cool things that my parents do is that my dad loves to put colorful light bulbs in his garage lights. So those 2 lights outside your garage, my dad puts colorful light bulbs out there, and they match all the seasons. So I went with a little Easter light bulb here, and this is the main idea. All books have main ideas, especially nonfiction books. This is the most important part of the book. It is what the author is trying to teach you. It can be a moral. It can be an overarching idea. There are main ideas in Cinderella, which is fiction or fantasy, and there's a main idea in the book about Alexander Graham Bell. And it's not always something like, well, the main idea is they want you to learn about Alexander Graham Bell. Yeah, but there's a better answer. There's a more in-depth answer. Do they want you to learn about his past? Do they want you to learn about purely his inventions? Do they want you to learn about purely his family? Do they want you to learn about his ideas and the things that he came up with? You kind of have to think, what is most of the story about? Sometimes it's a little bit unsure, and it's just good practice to think about it and to kind of wrestle with the idea. And sometimes you can even have well, not really an argument, but you can have like a discussion. And that's what we probably would have done in the classroom is I would have said, all right, what do you think of the main ideas? And I would have looked around and I would have called on one of you. And then I'd said, all right, that's correct. And then I'd call on someone else and they had a different idea and I'd say, that's correct. Now prove it to me. And then we would kind of have to prove our ideas and why we believe that one to be correct and trying to convince other people of the same. Now, I don't know if you just heard it, but my cats are currently chasing each other around this room, right in back of my camera. So if you see them, you know what's going on. All right, last part is the question mark. So I'm adding this little question mark. It's an orange one. And one of the neatest things about reading a nonfiction book is that the author wants you to think. And they want you to think about what they wanted you to learn. Now, it could be questions you still have. It could be how this affects your life. It could be what are some other stories or people that you've learned about that are similar to this person, such as Alexander Graham Bell. He was an inventor. Do you remember a person that we studied? He was also in the past. He had many different jobs. He was in politics. He was in newspapers. He did the first, remember in Philadelphia, he did the first hospital, library. He invented things like the library ladder and bifocal glasses. Do you remember him? Benjamin Franklin, that's right. And so what's neat is that we can connect our learning from Benjamin Franklin to our learning to Alexander Graham Bell. So to review, we have each of these different sections, and what you will be doing in the next video, or with me, or on your own, is you will be answering the questions on the other piece of paper. That paper is called Retell a Page or Section. And what you'll be doing is you'll be using the information from the bookmark, which you can see here on the side is still there, and answering those different questions. Okay, I hope you've enjoyed, and I will talk to each of you later. Bye.